Hey guys, it's KJ from the Scariest Movie Ever channel on YouTube, and I want to talk a little bit about just some of the crazy things that are happening right now in the world and some connections I found there. So what we're dealing with right now is Mother Goddess worship. We're seeing a return of this. This has been around since the very beginning. Now, Mother Goddess is a goddess who represents or personifies nature, motherhood, fertility, creation, and even destruction. Such goddesses are sometimes referred to as Mother Earth or even Earth Mother. This ancient worship is connected to many of the things that are happening right now in our world today, politically, socially, religiously. And as people are falling away from traditional religions, and even more specifically the Christian religion, they're reaching out for something else. Everything works in cycles, and we're back in one of those cycles again right now, where people are reaching out to ancient religions. Specifically, I'm speaking of the goddess movement, which includes spiritual beliefs and practices which have emerged in North America, Western Europe, Australia, and New Zealand, and it really started catching fire back in the 70s, and it's continued to grow since then. And I would even say that it's kind of at a peak right now. The movement grew as a reaction to perceptions of predominant organized religion being male-dominated, and it makes use of goddess worship and a focus on gender and femininity. The goddess movement is widespread, and it's connected with neo-paganism, or new paganism, the oldest religion, paganism. The practices vary widely from the name and number of goddesses worshipped to the specific rituals and rites used to do so. The belief systems range from monotheistic to polytheism to pantheistic, and they encompass a range of theological variety, similar to that in the broader neo-pagan beliefs. But ultimately what this is about is a cosmic battle between the matriarchy and the patriarchy, between male and female, and this has been going on for a very long time. And these days we're living in now, we're all being divided, and most of us can understand this, and we see this. They put us in little groups, and then once they can put us in little groups, they can turn us against each other. It's really important to understand that there's a connection between goddess religion, worshiping the mother goddess, and modern-day feminism, really feminism in general. The witch is seen as resisting patriarchy and the social structures through which men have exercised their power. Reverence for the goddess is becoming prevalent in our day. I'm seeing it everywhere. And the goddess is embraced by witchcraft, radical feminism, the occult, and the liberal church. The age of Aquarius, which is upon us right now, according to the occult world, is a feminine age. And likewise, those who hold this view believe that the current masculine age has been an age of destruction and broken relationships among humanity. So the new age with its feminine energies, these people believe that follow this will bring balance to the destructive aspects of the Piscean age. So this really is a war of ideas. This really is a war of beliefs. Christianity teaches that God is transcendent and separate from nature and is represented to humankind typically through masculine imagery. Witchcraft holds a pantheistic view of God, that God is nature. Therefore, God is in all things, and all things are a part of God. However, this God is in all actuality a goddess. A fundamental belief in witchcraft is the idea that the goddess predates the male god. The goddess is the giver of all life and is found in all of creation. The importance of the goddess symbol for women cannot be overstressed. The image of the goddess inspires these women to see themselves as divine. For many in the feminist world, the goddess is an object of worship. Those in these women's spirituality movements reject what they call the patriarchal Judeo-Christian tradition. According to a Wall Street Journal article by Sonia Nazario, women first wanted to apply feminism to political and economic realms, then to their families, and now they want it in their spiritual lives. The radical feminist believes that the traditional church must be dismantled. Naomi Goldenberg, in her book Changing of the Gods, states that The feminist movement in Western culture is engaged in the slow execution of Christ and Yahweh. It is likely that as we watch Christ and Yahweh tumble to the ground, we will completely outgrow the need for an external God. The deity that many in the feminist camp are searching for takes on the form of a goddess. Some in the goddess movement, according to a Wall Street Journal article, pray for the time when science will make men unnecessary for procreation. The radical feminist sees the goddess movement as a spiritual outlet for her long-held beliefs. The new age of occultism promises to be an age of peace, harmony, and tranquility, whereas the present dark age of brokenness and separation continues to bring war, conflict, and disharmony. Now, this is one of the main talking points of the modern day worshippers of the Mother Goddess. They believe it's the goddess with her feminine aspects of unity, love, and peace that will offer a solution for mankind and circumvent its destruction at the hands of the patriarchy. For many in those societies, it appears that the answer to man's dilemma is to hand over the power to the female. However, this is an occult solution that denies Christ's atonement for our sin. And for the pagan, the goddess represents life and all it has to offer. The goddess religion is a conscious attempt to reshape culture. This reshaping is nothing less than viewing man and his understanding of reality from a female-centered perspective, the focus of which is on the divine as female. Once again, this is a battle between the matriarchy, the patriarchy, between man and woman, even between different religious beliefs. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what it really boils down to is a battle between God and the devil. Because the Bible clearly indicates that men and women were created as distinctive beings, male and female. The rising occult influence in our society seeks to undermine the biblical absolute that gives our culture stability. And once again, the Bible rings true as it states, "For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but according to their own desires, because they have itching ears, they will heap up teachers, and they will turn their ears away from the truth and be turned aside to fables." So I've discussed this subject a lot in the past. It's the end of the fourth age and then the beginning of the fifth age, or the end of the age of Pisces, which was ruled by male, and then the beginning of the age of Aquarius, which is the last age of man. And there's a reason they call it the last age of man. So if you didn't already know, the Pope is full-on involved in the New World Order and the bringing of all the religions into one world religion. Many people believe he's the false prophet, or perhaps he's just playing that part for the public. But regardless, one thing he is doing for sure is talking a lot about Mother Earth and about climate change. Mother Earth is another name for Gaia, and Gaia goes back once again to Mother Goddess worship. And here's another example right here. You may remember the Pope talking about Mother Earth, defending Mother Earth at a summit just a few years ago. Another subject for you to look into, if you haven't looked into this yet, is Agenda 2030. And all this stuff connects. And the Pope is a part of this agenda. Once again, this is Mother Goddess worship before our very eyes, yet so few people can see. Now here's one that I felt was very interesting and a bit of a head scratcher. So again, considering what we just went over, the Pope connected to Mother Earth, connected to Gaia, Mother Goddess worship. There's actually a young lady named Gaia Pope, and she was recently found dead. This is from November 19th of this year. Gaia Pope had no injuries that suggest murder, so she was murdered mysteriously. The teenager Gaia Pope, whose body was found 11 days, and 11's a very important number with occultists as well, it just makes me wonder, but was found 11 days after she went missing from a seaside town, had not suffered any injuries that would suggest murder, detectives have said, so she just died. Mysteriously, she disappeared, she died, they found her 11 days later, they can't tell what killed her, and her name just happens to be Gaia Pope. And of course, a very solid example of how they're popularizing this idea comes to us in the form of a superhero, of course, Wonder Woman. So it's interesting that we're dealing with ancient religions. We're dealing with Mother Goddess worship. And time again, it's showing up in our popular culture. Don't believe the reviews. Mother is a thought-provoking, deeply Christian movie. Wow. Mother is anything but a deeply Christian movie. But anyway, here's what I wanted to show you. The consensus among reviewers and audiences of all stripes is that Mother is an environmentalist diatribe in which Lawrence's character Mother represents Mother Nature, or Gaia, as a poor, put-upon young woman abandoned by God and man. And this might explain why the actress Jennifer Lawrence was on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, literally wearing upside-down crosses on her ears. She has them on both ears, and it's no optical illusion. You can go watch this interview for yourself. You'll see what I'm saying. But look at that, right before our very eyes, on a very popular nighttime talk show. Millions of people are watching, yet so few people see. So this goes back to the idea that everything is right before our very eyes. The truth is in plain sight, but so few people can see. This also extends back to lesser magic. But this beast system reveals its plans to us all the time. So Mother Goddess worship, Gaia, the bigger picture. Well, there's a film that came out a few years ago called Kingsman: The Secret Service. And in this film, the lead bad guy, which is played by Samuel Jackson, spells out exactly what's happening right now in the real world with the United Nations and the Pope and all these different forces coming together for a one world order and a one world system. So check out this short clip and I'll be right back.
Once he explained, I understood.
When you get a virus, you get a fever. That's the human body raising its core temperature to kill the virus. Planet Earth works the same way. Global warming is the fever. Mankind is the virus. We're making our planet sick. Occult is our only hope. If we don't reduce our population ourselves, there's only one of two ways this can go. The host kills the virus, or the virus kills the host. Either way,
the result is the same. The virus dies.
So they call it sustainable development. Once again, check out the UN site. If you're curious about this, just do a little research on Agenda 2030. And this is exactly what they're talking about. We even have the story right here. Prince William warns that there are too many people in the world. This is a religion with these people, and they can't hide it. So another example, a mainstream example of this whole idea coming out before our very eyes. I've covered this in a few other videos in the past, but it's from American Horror Story Cult. It's the most recent season they had. At the very end, the sole survivor, the female sole survivor, you come to find out that she is a witch. She's a part of a coven. They dealt with men in charge throughout the entire series, but at the very end you find that they were truly the ones who were in charge and running things once they killed the man. So again, it's this rise of the occult, this rise of the witch, this rise of the Mother Goddess worshippers. And even in the opening credits, we have this represented, the male versus the female. This is Trump versus Clinton. As this Mother Goddess system continues to manifest, we're seeing much more confusion as well when it comes to genders. Men and women literally flipping their genders around. And lastly, I'll leave you with this. You've probably heard about this robot, Sophia. I mean, she actually spoke at the United Nations. Of course, now she's calling for women's rights. It's also interesting that they chose to name her Sophia. Sophia, you can actually trace back to the Gnostics. In Gnostic tradition, Sophia is actually a feminine aspect of God, and many of the Gnostics believed that she was the bride of Christ and the Holy Spirit of the Trinity. She is considered to have fallen from grace in some way, and in so doing, creating or helping to create the material world before us. Unbelievable. Look up the story of Sophia with the Gnostics. So I'll leave you with that, folks. These are very interesting times we're in. The veil really is lifting. Hold on to truth. So thanks again for checking out the video. As always, you guys take care of yourselves out there, and I'll talk to you again real soon.